Hey, Ian and Ben, heard you're using YeshID. Tell me more about it. How would you describe it?
Would say that it's a must-have if you have Google Workspace as your identity provider. It helps automate and streamline your onboarding and offboarding processes. Okay, so let me start, I guess. I can start telling about Quivo. We're a multinational logistics group. Our main line of business is 3PL, third-party logistics. So basically, what this means is if you're in e-commerce, you have something to sell, but you don't want to deal with storing your product, packaging, shipping, you outsource it to us and we do it for you. My role at Quivo, I'm the IT infrastructure team lead. So I deal with a lot of topics, IT related, these days more security and compliance related. And I'm joined today by my colleague Ben, who's our senior system administrator.
I'm Ben. I'm with Quivo for 10 years right now. Done a lot of stuff coming from the operational part, now in the IT infrastructure team. And the main role here in this regards is, of course, the onboarding and offboarding workflow that we are facing.
We are present in 6 different countries, and we have a lot of warehouses around the world. We have around 300, 400 employees currently, and the IT team quite big for a logistics company because most of our systems they're in-house developed. So that's why we have a strong IT team, and we have around 30 people in the department. And
What kind of headaches and problems were you dealing with before you started having conversations with us?
I would say that before YeshID, the onboarding and offboarding process was very informal, and it involved a lot of manual steps that only people like me and Ben, who are the most senior and experienced people, we would know all of the nuances and details, while our junior colleagues would face challenges and not know what to do in certain scenarios because the process was not formal. Yes, so they had to reach out for help. And YeshID, it kind of allowed us to formalize it, to use the template functionality, which would allow to automate some of the processes. Now we can focus on following the instructions that each step tells us to do, guides us through the process. And before, there would be a lot of errors and mistakes, not intentional, of course. If you don't have a formal process, if the steps are manual, it means that you can forget here and there. And YeshID helped us optimize that and fix those kind of errors.
And it was just very exhausting to basically type every time uh, kind of a statement what you actually did. No, and this was a recurring task to manually write, really write by hand. Okay, access provision to this application, access provision to that application, and then maybe something that went wrong. You also have to mention this. So yes, it was very time consuming in the end.
What you're describing is what I hear a lot of people in the industry refer to as toil. Like for engineering tasks, you want to eliminate as much toil as you can. How much time did those kinds of tasks usually take you before? Like if you were onboarding one person, how long would it take you for those kinds of repeated, like just entry kind of tasks?
I would estimate 40 to 45 minutes.
Yes, I would agree. I would say that if you're doing everything manually when you're not using YeshID, yes, it can take up to an hour. And I would say that YeshID allows to cut the time at least in half on
Wow.
average.
Yes, to be honest, I personally believe the time savings is even more because especially when we talk about all that happens within the Google environment, basically everything can be automated now. And this is so much time saving. All the other applications, there might be some access to be granted to. You can do this in, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes at max, while the automation itself is performed within 1-2 minutes. So I think that the time savings is even more.
I think the one note that I forgot to mention when you asked me what were our headaches before YeshID, we weren't able to use this scheduling functionality to scheduled onboarding, so to say. And because we are present in so many countries all around the world on different time zones, the day starts at different times, and 7 a.m. on a Monday is different depending on whether it's our warehouse in Pennsylvania or where I'm based in Vienna, Austria. And we would always have to compromise on security. Basically, what would happen is we would give access before the person started to work on Monday, 7 a.m., and we would give access on the previous week on Friday. But now with YeshID, you can schedule the onboarding for Monday and be sure that person will start work and will get access to all of the accounts on time. And this allows us to sleep.
So I imagine one of the things you look for is the ability for any new tool you're bringing to easily fit into your existing processes or with minimal, lift, right? How easy was it to bring YeshID into that current pipeline that you have? Did you have to do a lot of customization and tweaking on your end, or was it easy to slot in?
For us, it was quite easy because, as I said, in our company, we rely on so many Google services and the Google Workspace ecosystem, right? So all of the default automations and features of YeshID that are tied to Google, they were available to us from day one, and we didn't really have to rely on the HR systems at all. We still do have two HR systems because of the previous mergers that happened in our group, but that's not a problem to us because we control the user management from the Google Workspace perspective.
Yes, and in terms of the HR system itself, there's no integration before and now happening. So we have internal ticketing system, and there's a separate space for the on and offboardings. So our HR colleagues have to create dedicated on and offboarding requests, and out of these requests, we are creating YeshID tasks based on the task templates. So this was an easy adoption basically into our former workflow. It's perfectly fitting in and easing our lives. Basically zero effort to integrate it.
Ian, which features have been most valuable for your team?
For me as a team lead, the Google Workspace automations. I'm quite happy because there's less errors, the work is more efficient, and my colleagues, they spend less time on onboarding and offboarding tasks, which means they have more time for other tasks. Our new colleagues, the people who we onboard, they're more happy in general because the process is more smooth. So this makes our colleagues from HR also happy with our work.